Hello YouTubes, welcome back to my RAM rocker panel repair series. Now I don't want to spend all day making videos, so we're going to get straight to it. We're going to cut this whole section off. We're going to grind it down using my angle grinder and my impact chisel-y thing. Get that all off. Once that's all off, sand it down a bit, spray it with rust converter before we can proceed to the next step. Let's go. While that stuff is drying, I will get on with the other side. Before that, I'll give you a quick update. The new rocker panel will be attaching along here. It'll be getting welded, spot welded, and also spot welded along there. I will of course need to grind that rust converter off because that's probably quite flammable, but just along this edge, you can see where it's already been or previously been spot welded. So I'm just going to, I'll maybe offset it instead of there, I'll do it there and there and there and so on. This bit's going to be complicated because in order to get a way around there, I would actually need to remove the bed. I don't want to do that, so I've got some rust converter on there. I'll probably put a plate behind that, weld it through, and if it's still, I mean it's reasonably solid, but obviously there's no point welding onto stuff that's like that, for example. But if I can get that to stiffen up, then I should be able to get access in there with some fiberglass filler. I'm not looking for a SEMA-worthy project here, but this should be strong enough, and I've kept a bit of a curve there to give it a bit more strength because the new panel would actually go all the way up to about here. You can see actually possibly a spot weld from the previous, manufacturing. But yeah, the plan is to just spot weld it all along there. The front, I'm just going to overlap it a little bit. I'm just going to overlap it here. Some nice little welds along here, grind it down, and then just a little bit of filler just to smooth it around there. So that's where we're at. So let me get the other side cleaned up, rust converted, and then we can mock up the new panels and then trim them down to where they need to go. See you shortly. Both sides are now cleaned up, rust converted. It's actually the next day, don't know if you can tell. I just thought I'd let that rust converter dry properly. So this panel is sitting where I want it to be. This side will close up quite nicely. I might bring it forward that way a little bit, maybe drill or use that little hole punch and just make a couple of holes there and just spot that weld on. As I say, it's going to come this way, and then And just to keep it attached to this a bit better, I don't want to try and do some fancy seam weld down here. I know I'll make a mess of that. So a couple of spot welds just to hold it in place, and the bottom will obviously get spot welded all the way along, and the same spot welding all the way along there. Backside, or rear end, oh, doesn't matter how I say it, sounds rude, but this will get pushed up to there. Again, I might just spot weld this along here. Obviously got some work to do here, and there will be a little hole in there that I'm going to have to address, and it's the trickiest part because it curves round. Not the end of the world, I should be able to take care of that. The other side, however, is going to be a different kettle of fish. Don't know why they say that. I would never keep my fish in a kettle, it would get really smelly. Front, again, going to be very similar. Actually needs to come forward this way a wee bit because it's under there. So over this way a little bit, a couple of spot welds, that will hold that in place. And then a bit of body filler just to cover that seam. Same along the top and bottom, but the rear end of this is going to be tricky as get out. Closes up there, got a bit of a gap here, but that's okay, that's what body filler's for. But this side here, that's going to be tough. I'm going to have to get a bit of metal behind that, and then it will need to curve. I'll do that first before I attach this. So there'll be a fresh bit of steel behind that hole. It'll curve round here, and then this will attach onto, again, I either cut this off here or curve that over. Oh, it's going to be horrible. And I'm not proud, but body filler or fiberglass is going to have to hide all that. As long as there's more metal than body filler, I'll be happy. Okay, I need to actually get these panels off again, because I'm going to cut all the way along this line and remove this section here. Let me do that, and then we'll do another little test fit. Actually no, take that off, cut them down, try and fabricate something for the back corner, and then we can put these back on and see if we can start welding it up. Alright folks, I've spent way too much time on this little patch panel, making little templates, curving bits of metal round. They didn't work. The problem is that, yes, it curves that way, but the body actually also curves that way, and I just can't get it to work. So what I've done is, I'm not going to do the curve on the metal, I'm going to fabricate the curve out of body filler. So I've got a little panel here to fill that gap. And yeah, it's pretty horrible in there. But as I said before, I don't want to have to take this off and open a whole new can of worms, because no doubt I will probably snap the bolts that hold that on. And I'm also limited in time, limited in space, limited in tools. If I lift the body up, then I'm not going to be able to move the truck about. So I'm going to tack that on there and get this panel ready. I cut off the top bit, punch some holes all the way around, and then we'll finally be ready to weld something. So far so good. I'll give you a closer look. So, obviously it's not attached to the top at all. So I went for 3 holes here. So that goes right in there. It'll get spot welded onto that section. Obviously that will get pushed in there all the way along. I wonder if I can open the door without it falling off now. Oh, we're good. That'll give you a better idea. So using my knee, that'll get pushed right up just to below that silver line, which is where it curves up. So I've got enough room to get some body filler in there just to smooth it off. I'm just talking about spot welding these, get them nice and smooth, and then just a little, run my finger along, make a little curve with the body filler, and hopefully if I do it with my very soft fingers, I shouldn't even have to sand it down, to be honest. If I get it nice, I might even find a little tool, but I think that'll work fine. Same all the way to the back. I'm going to ignore the back for now because it's really giving me nightmares. So I'm going to connect this section. Obviously I need to trim this down and make some weird curve. Oh, nightmare material. But I'm not doing that tonight. Because once again I'm running out of daylight. That's the worst thing about winter. Very short days. And also it's going to rain tonight. There's no point doing fresh welds and then letting it rust over with rust. Don't you just love crows when you're quite finished? Anyway, I want to say a very special thank you to Brian Davis. You might remember Brian gave me the power steering pump for Bugsy. Anyway, Brian sent me an email yesterday offering his heated shop to do all the work in this. Isn't that nice? But if you're anything like me, you want to work where your tools are, and I would have to transport there and back. Anyway, I really appreciate the offer, Brian, but maybe in the future. So for now, I'm going to get that panel off, but I can do the other panel, the hole. Oh, talking of the holes, that little punch that Alan lent to me, fantastic. I was expecting a hole punch to be really loud, but it's really quiet and very efficient. Love it. Thanks, Alan, for that. So as I say, I'll get on with the other side. I can do that in the garage, doesn't matter if it's raining. And then tomorrow afternoon, it should be dry, get the welding done. Oh, that was the other thing. I would need to disconnect the battery to do the welding, and then I can't move the truck. Oh, blah, blah, blah. So welding tomorrow, and then hopefully paint on Saturday. Make sure you come back for that. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all soon.